السلام عليكم. شكرا جزيلا لحضوركم. يعطيكم ألف عافية إن شاء الله. اسمي رامي الضماطي. I am CTO Glory Think Group وفاوندر تراستي كريبتو. اليوم عندنا موضوع جدا شيق. طبعا يعني البرزنتيشن حتكون more in English فيها، بس خليني أقدم نفسي وإن شاء الله إنه تكون برزنتيشن مفيدة وتوبيك جديد، يعني connecting between multiple technology within the من خلال هذا الكونفرنس الرائع. صراحة تنظيم رائع وجهد مشكور يشكر عليه جميع من هو قائم عليه من كافة الأطراف. بالنسبة لهيك كونفرنس وهيك تنظيم، صراحة عملية جبارة وشغل يشكر الجميع عليه. بشكل رئيسي المحاضرة اليوم أو السيشن اليوم احنا بنحكي على، خلينا نحكي مجموعة تكنولوجي مرتبطة في بعض، وحندخل في تفاصيلها. بنحكي عن اللي هو السايبر فيزيكال سيستمز مع الاي اي والسمارت كونتراكت والبلوك تشين. فيها بداية أعرف نفسي، أنا رامي الضماطي. أنا سايبر سيكيورتي اكسبرت، بلوك تشين اكسبرت، واكسبرت في بعض الاميرجينج تكنولوجي. اشتغلت أكثر من تقريبا 18 سنة في مجال السايبر سيكيورتي في شركات كبيرة زي كاسبرسكي وفاير اي وبالو التو وايت سكوير وموبايلي، في مشاريع الاوبريشن سنترز ومشاريع الكونسلتنج للتكنولوجي وتريننجز واذر اريا اوف انجيجمنت فيها. مجال البلوك تشين والكريبتو كرنسي دخلت تقريبا في خلينا نحكي في نهاية 2015. شدني زي أي واحد يعني مبتدئ كان في هذا المجال، موضوع الكريبتو كرنسي، البيتكوينز، التداول والربح فيها. بس لما دخلت فيه لقيت إنه هذا المجال هو أكبر من هيك، وقررت إني أتعمق فيه وأربطه بخبرتي في مجال اللي هو السايبر سيكيورتي. فبشكل رئيسي بديت أبحث في هذا الدومين، لأنه أكيد هذا الدومين it's built by human، واكيد there is a gaps, security gaps, و it's a new trend، واني new trend come with new threats. و everyone know انه الاتاكرز اليوم they are step ahead of the people and step ahead of the technology. بتعلموا بسرعة، بيكتشفوا شو الثغرات اللي موجودة، وبيحاولوا انهم خلينا نحكي انهم يكونوا متطورين أو سابقين الأشخاص، لأنه أول ما تطبق التكنولوجيا أكيد هيكون فيها ثغرات، فهم هيكونوا من الأوائل اللي بدأوا عملية الاختراقات والاستفادة من هاي العمليات. بشكل رئيسي بديت أعمل مجموعة ريسيرش وبحث، تعاونت مع مجموعة شركات زي الجي بي اي، زي الجي اس دي سي، البلوك تشين كونسولز. شاركت بعض المشاريع الكريبتو كرنسي. برضو بديت يعني أتعمق في هذا المجال، والحمد لله وصلت لمرحلة ممتازة فيها. بديت أعطي دورات بهذا المجال وأتعمق فيها، طبعا دورات بتشمل كل المجالات، بالإضافة لموضوع خلينا نحكي اللي هي السبيشاليزيشن الخاص في السايبر سيكيورتي، كريبتو كرنسي مع البلوك تشين. زي ما حكينا هذا الدومين كتير متشعب، والإيمرجينج تكنولوجي بشكل رئيسي اللي هو بيتطلب فعليا انه لازم يكون عندنا يعني security protections لهاي الدومينز قبل ما نبدا نعمل adaptions. طبعا بما انها emerging technology، تكنولوجيا ناشئه، definitely حيكون في a lot of rules regulations governance لسه راح تطلع قبل تطبيقها، بس الناس already بدات تستخدمها وتبدا في تطبيقها. انشأت شركه برضو اسمها تراستي كريبتو، اللي هي متخصصه as a ecosystem how to protect الكريبتو كرنسي transactions، يعني انه كيف انت مثلا تبعد عن السكامز، تبعد عن الثريتس، كيف تحمي نفسك باكثر من طريقه. والحمد لله المجال هذا يعني بدا ناس كثير يتحركوا فيه في المنطقه تبعتنا وفي الريجن. بدات في تطبيقات كثيره من ناحيه القطاع البنكي بشكل رئيسي، اللي هم اكثر ناس ادابترز لهذا الدومين، مع الجفرمنت. يعني احنا في منطقة الخليج هنا عندنا في مثلا في دبي سمارت جفرمنت، عندنا في السعودية يعني قطاعات كتير بدأت تدخل في هذا المجال، البحرين، الكويت، وحتى الدول زي مصر برضه، زي الأردن، زي لبنان، بدأت يبدوا يشتغلوا في هذه القطاعات، وهي قطاعات حيوية. وبدأت التكنولوجيا تدخل لأنه خلينا نحكي الأولد تكنولوجي أثبتت إنه قد ما أنت بتحط فيها security protections وبتحميها وبتنفست فيها still الاتاكرز they are able to do the breach. فاجت التقنية هنا سرعت الأمور مع التسارع التقني والديجيتال ترانسفورميشن والاندستري 4. بدأت الأمور تتحرك بشكل أقوى أسرع، فيها بروتكشن أعلى بشكل رئيسي. فالأجندة اليوم راح نحكي في مجموعة تفاصيل. طبعا زي ما حكيت هي عبارة عن مجموعة تكنولوجيز حبيت إني أطرحها as a unique approach لأي presentation، خصوصا في المؤتمر العربي للسايبر سيكيورتي. وهذا إشي طبعا يعني يعتبر يعني خلينا نحكي سابقة إنه إحنا ندمج مجموعة تكنولوجيز مع بعض ونشوف كيف ممكن يشتغلوا مع بعض والنيدز تبعتهم for the future needs. السايبر physical system mainly it is a systems that it's already used in the smart grids, in the smart technology, smart cities, or in the factories or the industries itself. So you can see that we already having many of implementation of the physical system, cyber physical systems, and it's already connected now. And we will see what we are meaning on these terminologies. And what is the framework, the conceptions models of the cyber physical systems, or what we mentioned it as CBS. Segmentation of M2M, which is machine-to-machine market, because this system is mainly connected to, let's say, connecting machine together, and they can work all together at the same time. And what is the key characteristics of the CBS? Then we will see what is the security gaps and problems and solutions that can be offered within the CBS systems. What is the blockchain? What is its main role in the CBS domain itself? What is the application of the CBS that will need to have the blockchain? And why will use the blockchain in order to run multiple applications within the CBS? And we will go and introduce the smart contract and the AI and what is their main rules and the integrations of the smart contract and the AI in the privacy perspective itself. Then we will see how all of this system is being integrated together, like blockchain and AI, and we will discuss also a use case within the presentation itself. So you can see there is a variety of technologies we will be discussed, and inshallah we will be able to deliver a new concept and new ways of, let's say, presentation to explain this type of technologies and how it can work all together. Because I have believed, and everyone maybe agree with me, that these technologies coming to stay. It's not coming just we are testing it, because the demand of the new futures now, the industry 4, the area of collaborations, the enhancement, the security, which is the major part into that in adapting this technology in order to enhance the existing security. Again, existing security mainly what we have and seeing today, that a lot of systems is coming to the pictures. It's working fine, perfectly, but with a small mistake from the human, it crash everything. So it doesn't matter how much you spend millions of dollars, but at the end of a small mistake from the human factors, it will destroy everything. So the new era of the emerging technology, when it came to the pictures, it came because we need to eliminate, let's say, decrease the human factor mistakes, not eliminate it. We cannot eliminate it 100% because there is still interaction between the human and the machine, and there is some data need to be interacted and so on. But at least we can protect the data that we store it itself from any manipulations, any change, or any breach, or any, let's say, ransomware or DDoS or anything from that one. make faster analysis by using the AI, machine learning, all of these technologies and new technologies that started came in the picture within the product itself. So let us start defining what is the CPS or the cyber physical system. So the cyber physical system is like a smart systems that integrate engineering interacting between network and network of physicals and conceptual component, which is meaning that they are highly interconnected, integrated systems that provide a new functionality to improve the quality of the life and enable the technology itself in a critical area, let's say healthcare, okay, emerging response, traffic flow controls, smart manufacturers, defense, homeland security, energy supplies, and many of other use itself. There is no country today don't have, let's say, electricity system or traffic control system or let's say nuclear system, which is the most critical systems and planets is available here. We start in GCC and UAE maybe 1 month back. We announced the first safety nuclear planet is there, and I think Egypt also have the same. And other countries, they have also the, let's say, the water systems, electricity systems, smart cities, and all of these industries or critical area that that mean that it's critical, that it is impacting the life of the people and the life of the country itself. So any problem in these systems, definitely it will impact the whole country, the whole people. And it's not only maybe hundreds of lives, it's millions of lives it will be. And this is also the target of the attackers. You know, we are in the hot area. There's a lot of conflict between countries. Other countries try to engage in business of other countries. Internal conflicts, a lot of things, especially in the Middle East area. So we can see that the attentions in our area, it's really high, and we need to take this to the second level of securing the physical system itself. A lot of physical system in the old days was not connected to the internet because there is maybe the internet is very low of use, but now internet is everywhere. We start seeing connecting multiple machine to machine. Start seeing smart cities. Smart cities also is a very, very demanding terminology in our areas. Hospitals, buildings, smart cars even, and the IoT or the industrial IoT or the IoT itself. Now it's already available in the region and is connected, and it is used with a lot of, let's say, area. Now maybe you cannot move in a small city and you cannot find any IoT sensors or maybe smart city or anything is there. So this is terminologies. Really, it is a part of our life. It's already, but the protection of this part, it's major and it's very important. So you can see here that the CBS mainly started long time back, starting from the Industry 4 itself. When the Industry 4 started, which make the revolutions of the industry and the next stage of the organizations, control life cycles of the product value chain, and start connecting machines, working with many area that it need to connected all together, and definitely when it is connected all together, you need to define IP address. And IP address in these systems, meaning that it's connected to the internet or intranet. But the intranet definitely is something is local. But with the time that they need to collect, let's say, some area, let's say, some temperatures from IoT systems or some other information that they need to connect it or monitor it itself, or remote control or remote service need to be offered within the CPS itself. So there is now the demand of the new capabilities. I remember when I used worked with many projects in oil and gas companies. They have the air gap area networks. They're totally isolated. They still not convinced to connect it to the internet. There is old systems need it's not updated or patched because there is no internet, and even they are using, let's say, old ways of updates, which is manually and go physical to every website, to every site, and this take times, and the attackers is more faster of them. And at the end, with the time, we found a lot of research and statistics came from leader industries saying that most of the attacks in the air gaps area or in the industry area, it came from the internet, from the email itself. So at the end, there is needs to connect these machines to the internet in order to have new capability like remote access to them, monitoring it, tracking and control, services, process, everything. And with the new technology now, with the 5G, and I see a couple of articles about 6G itself now, it's coming itself. So these will help really to make operational is much more faster, and the demand of connecting them really it's need to be considered and revised itself. Now, CPS as a system or evolutions, again, we mentioned it is like it's a characteristics of the concept itself, controlling the system. It need to be intelligible. It need to be embedded with the software systems, communications, and IP address connected to the IoT's devices. IoT devices also will be connected also to the internet, system to system, machine to machine, or let's say monitoring and control itself. So the evolutions with the time, we can see that these type of physical systems or cyber-physical systems itself, it start getting some feeds from outside to do more intelligence analysis, to do more actionable actions itself based on some inputs and some maybe environments, detections area or something that they already collecting. So we start seeing that there is a smart factories now. Smart factories that maybe we can see it in China or in these other countries, that it's maybe managed 100% with the robotics or with the machines itself, from the beginning up to the packing and shipping itself. So these physical, cyber-physical systems, okay, it really adapt, and it's coming as a revolutions for the industry. And again, as I mentioned, any new trend, it will come with the new threats that will happen with more problems. So if we want to just to see the framework or the conceptual models of the cyber-physical systems, you can see it is mainly it is a communication between system of the systems, okay, or it will be one device collecting some informations, okay, and connected to the system. So all of these it's like a patterns. It's depend on the multiple systems. So starting from the information being collected to the analysis and doing the decisions and doing the interactions with the sensors or with devices like IoT or IIoT itself, you can see that still the human factor is there, and there is an interaction, but it is minimal with the technology revolutions itself, evolutions itself. So we can see that all of these devices now start collecting the information, do the analysis, and do the actions and the decisions and the interactions in the physical state itself in order to continue and proceed with the activity itself. So as examples, or if we want to see the segmentation of the machine-to-machine market itself, the market is very big and huge. So you can see here from devices to locations to services to application group to maybe the, whatever type of industries it's connected, and the service sectors that it's support, starting from the building part, connecting the building, connecting the IT services, the security and the public safety, retails, transportations, industries, healthcare and life, consumers, home, energy, and there is a subsequences application that can be used, and the locations where it can be used, either in the maybe in the IT network like e-commerce, or in the data centers, or in the retail shops, or into the factories, or into the many of others industries that it's already connected and it's used together. So this is why we can see that the CBS concept is very important. It's running and it's critical because it's connected everywhere and it can be used and utilized everywhere and in all the application. And there is a lot of new application and trends start connecting and start working on these technologies altogether. Okay, so mainly, if we want to take a small example of the CBS in the smart traffic, okay, smart traffic system, either in the flights or autonomous cars or buses or maybe trucks or anything, okay, fleet management, travel assistance, anything you can see it as examples of the scope of the CBS itself. So here you can see that any problem is happening on the front of the bus or on the front of the autonomous cars, definitely there is a sensors will share the information to the other cars that there is something happening in the front of you, like traffic signs, or sorry, traffic signals and signs, and there is some parameters will be showing that there is issues happening in this road. You need to take another road and change maybe the directions and use it in different way, or slow down, or doing something else, because these autonomous cars or autonomous systems, it's running without a human, so there is no person sitting there and seeing this interaction in front of them. So they need to get some input from sensors, from cameras, from analytic systems, or from anywhere, through wireless networks or 5G networks to be connected all together in very speedy and connected way, in order to enhance the flow of the traffic itself. So we be able to manage the highways speeds to reduce because there is problems, or the flights to be controls, or the fleet managements and other ways of the let's say of communication between this system itself. So here you can see from this example that everything is all connected. So physical, sensors, parameters, inputs, all connected. So imagine if one of the attackers intercept here in this system and change or manipulate the facts. We can find a lot of problems and a lot of issues that can happen within this system itself. So as a key characteristics of the CBS itself, we can see that there is many features coming with the system itself. Its next evaluations. Systems can be communicated. You remember when I mentioned IoT or let's say industries before it was not connected because of security concerns. Now it must be because of this new evolutions itself. Also, it can be unique, identified, meaning that each one have its own ID, its own IP, let's say, and using the internet, and it is part of the internet itself, and it need to be also to be protected, because these systems and controllers, sensors, actuators itself, it need to be in the field collecting the parameters. So let's say today I have a big farm, okay, of cows or animals or anything, and I want to make sure that I'm I'm sending their meats, their let's say anything to outside, so I'm part of the import and export systems of the country, and I want to track the weather, the quality of water, the quality of the, let's say, food itself and everything. So definitely I need to put a lot of sensors, controllers, actuators to collect this type of information and put me within a system that can show me exactly the inputs, do the analysis for that, and make sure that everything is working fine. Previously, before these things, this was happening manually. Take a lot of time to take the, let's say, samples of the water, to take sample of the food, do the analysis, check with the information about the quality of the life of the animals is there, the quality of the milk itself. Then we be able to export it in that part. And there is a lot of manipulations happening in that time. Food is not good, but I want to export it to outside, so I can put parameters as a human, fake parameters as a human, which will make impact on the life of the people. But with the new CBS systems characteristics itself, connected all together, bring data automatic and save it in a safe place, cannot be changed and manipulated. This is something now enhance the factories and enhance the systems itself to build more trusted details and trusted information itself. So from this characteristics, we can see there is a lot of things also need to be done, like let's say smart factories, smart informations, and a lot of things, which will show us that the industry 4s make a big impact, and there is a new technology introduced to the industry 4s. It's not been shown before, especially the sensors parts, the robotics parts. So you can see from this diagram that the IoT device, the AI device, the cloud and infrastructure, and the big data itself, they are the dominators into the use of the industry 4 itself. But still, there is nanotechnologies, robotics, sensors, blockchain, 3D printings, and the others. It is a part of the equation of the new trend itself. But again, if you see the big 4s here, they are all to work together. There is a cloud, and there is a big data to be analyzed from AI, from the Internet of Things devices, sensors, through the AI, the artificial intelligence. So here, this is the main 4 factors, and I can see also a part of my presentation that the blockchain is also playing a big factors here in this equation, because we will see that blockchain is an immutable database. It cannot be changed. So if the data came from the sensors of the IoT, from my factories or from my farm, that the food quality is not good or the weather is not good, which is impacting the health of the animals is there, so this food will not be qualified to be exported. As a human, this will impact me in my business. But this data, once it's inserted in the blockchain, it cannot be changed, it cannot be manipulated. So now here is the trust is coming. The analysis will be done through the AI, big data analytics, and all of these, and saved in the blockchain, showing the accurate information at the same time. And still, there is other technologies will be evolving as well, like augmented reality, 3D printing, and quantum computing or edge computing itself. But still, there is a use for them in the industry 4 itself. Okay, so mainly, as we can see, CBS in the manufacturing, it's depend on, let's say, machines, let's say companies generate a lot of information. So it will depend on main 5 C's, what we mentioned, 5 C of structure of the CBEs. The 5 C's mainly working onto the let's say, starting from the connection part itself, the connection levels, type of connections itself, and the data that will be collected from the sensors that collected already, and in which level of communication need to be secured, and all of these things. Then transfer the information after doing the analysis, using this information with the analytics engine that will help to understand exactly what type of parameters that we are getting and what type of outcomes that we need to show in order to make sure that everything or the production line is working 100% fine. And the cyber part, or the cyber level itself, which is protecting this information and making sure that the connections, the devices is working correctly without any manipulations or without any interactions. Also, let's say, also the conjunctions levels itself, which is integrating the machine with the correct parameters that came from the database in order to make sure that it's functional correctly and we are monitoring it. So our role now converted to more into the monitoring part itself, and going to the configurations levels itself to make sure that this configurations, once it's applied correctly, it's applied in a proper way. And this, definitely, these 5 C's need all to be applied together and work together in order to make sure that these CBEs are working 100% accurate with the ways that we are looking to do, and we're looking to achieve better life and smart life better than this. Now, a part of the CBE's equation is the cybersecurity part, right? Because once you connect any device, so you are part of the internet problems itself. So here you can see that these CBS systems start impacting our life, right? It's connected to the, let's say, EC systems, nuclear systems, water systems, and name it, a lot of things. So once it's impacting lives, so you need to take care about the cybersecurity part. And definitely there is many cases happening in the previous years about some attacks happening just maybe for fun, or terrorism, like controlling the power or other resources, critical resources of the life of the people. And this really, it's a matter of attentions that all the countries start working and take the attention about it. And the major part here, based on statistics done by Deloitte and the other big companies, that the most problems is still happening through the USB. So you can imagine USB that in these planet systems that they are connected or maybe thrown away, and they have a small malwares or backdoors on anything. Once you connect it to the device, spread and start connecting to the internet and give the control to the attackers. So this is based on some statistics that why the people keep these systems isolated from the internet 100%, but the equation is not anymore happening. So as a cybersecurity demands and requirement for these, we need to deliver or make sure that we are working with SIA, let's say, the SIA or the cybersecurity area, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and the availability of the systems itself. So mainly, when we're talking about confidentiality, we need to make sure that these people who's accessing the systems, they have the authorized to access these themselves, the access controls, the confidentiality of the information, the level of access, and we need to make sure for the integrity also of the data. Once we do any change with the system, we need to make sure that these changes are authorized from a specific people, and maybe other changes is not authorized and need to be dropped. And here, the area where the blockchain or other technologies start working and play in these domains to protect and enhance the existing systems. Availability also need to be make sure that the system is available all the times without any downtime when it being requested or it need when it being used. So there is many attacks types it's happening to this system, like DDoS attacks or ransomwares or any type of other attacks that we're facing from these systems. And we can see that there is many of ways that they are reaching to this system. Backdoors, spear phishing, mistakes from humans, systems with some gaps, vulnerabilities itself, which will bring a lot of consequences on the cybersecurity part, which is impacting the systems, impacting the lives, impacting the flow, even the control of the country itself. So there is a lot of parameters of the communication or the threats is over there, and even the control of let's say of the SCAD itself when it's been compromised, or the ICS systems being compromised itself. Definitely there is a lot of problems will have and consequences will be happening on this area. So now, after you can see all of these things and problems that's already we are facing, and we are putting a lot of systems to protect these systems. We are putting services, protections, enhance, pay millions of dollars in order to reach to a way to protect the systems. Still, there is a gaps happening, and now let's say the solutions of the emerging technology start introduced, and we will be able to be used in a proper way. So the first technology that we'll speak about it with the relation of the CBS is the blockchain. Blockchain, again, it is a list of, let's say, blocks connected all together. It will help to save the data in a way that it cannot be changed unless the accurate information or accurate privileges is there. Then it will execute or it will be changed. So there is many ways the blockchain is being interacting, especially with the financial system or the financial, let's say, transactions, because it's mainly built to fix the transactions of the financial. But again, blockchain is not limited to the financial sector or industry. It can work everywhere. Everywhere where is the need to protect the data from change and not accessible by anyone. Need to have the full authority about it and make sure that the availability of the data is there all the time. So with the use of the blockchain as a main factors for protections, and there is many functionalities there like smart contract, and we'll talk about this smart contract that will be managed the workflow to make sure it's like equations: if, then, else. If this condition been applied, then do this action, otherwise drop. You don't need to do this action. So we need to make sure that this automation is being happening with a way that is secured and it can be done in a proper way. So in order to understand this concept, okay, and the use of the blockchain in many industries, non-financial industries, and it's working like decentralized concept, meaning of the decentralized that they are removing the man in the middle of the operation itself, like the banking systems. We talked in many courses about that third party always make delay, make cost of the operation, and the single database is single point of failures. So in order to make sure that this decentralized system is working fine, that we understand how the blockchain is working mainly. Okay, so mainly the blockchain is like a shared ledger. Shared ledger meaning that there will be a broadcast to a peer-to-peer network, peer-to-peer. Okay, it is not centralized, so it will be from point to point or multiple points, and this shared ledger will be distributed, okay, across all of the network, and all of this authorized network will be taken as a nodes or multiple node, and it will validate this information and save it in multiple copy within the network. Each distributed ledger have its own functionality, how it is deal with the data. Some DLTs or distributed ledgers deal with the data like segregate the data in chunks and small splits and put it in multiple nodes, and once the data need to be retrieved, it will be recovered in a specific algorithm. Or others, they have make it in the small nano functionalities in order to make it much faster. It's depend on the DLT that the company use. Now, if any information, sorry, before this, now in order to make sure that the validation is working correctly, the cryptography concepts came here, which is the normal cryptography part, that there is a public key and private key for transactions and receiving the data. So now, once any changes happen, it need to have one of these, either public key or private key, to validate the data and the validate of the information of this data, and the network itself or the consensus network itself, which makes sure that this change will be happen across of the acceptance of all the nodes. So if one node reject this change, all the nodes will reject this transaction or this change itself. So it's depend on the unique information and the unique data that need to be transaction itself. Once it's been combined all together, they will put it in the blocks and the transaction will be completed. And the part of the blockchain itself is the cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is one of the implementation of the blockchain. So here you can see that there is no change can be happen unless the network all accept it. It's like the company share. If all have the equal shares of the company, so the decision need to be taken from all the shareholders at the same time equally. If someone from these shareholders don't agree about it, everyone will drop the decision or the change itself. Now, how can I make sure that these shareholders, they are authorized? I'll give them the public key and private key for this operation. Once the decision is being made or the change is happening on the public ledger itself, everyone will need to approve it by comparing it with the copy of the distributed ledgers that they have it, which is through the algorithm of the consensus itself. Okay? This bring the attention that we don't need anymore the central node or central banks or central authorities or single point of contact that if I want to send the money abroad, I have to go to the exchange or to the bank or anywhere. No, I can go directly send the money over there. There is some attention about regulations, compliance, but we are not talking about that. We're talking about the concept itself for that one. Okay? Now, once the details is happening here, you can see there is a lot of benefits you are getting from here. Validation, it's the most important part. If the attacker able to gain access to this network, like normal, if they access to the central database, okay, they can change, they can do anything, and they can play with the data, and they can maybe drop the data or change a record in the data that give them maybe the access, or they give them the authority on a specific terminology. But in the blockchain, the validation by consensus, meaning that all the network must approve, otherwise it will be dropped. Okay? And at the same time, it's a group altogether is collected. Immutable, what's immutability? Meaning that if the information is being entered to the blockchain, it cannot be changed. So this is why when every project we engage, we told them, make sure if the data that you want to put it in the database, it must not be changeable. It is unchangeable part itself. Unforgettables, also traceability, and there is multiple type of the data itself. So the application here, as you can see from the CPEs itself, and the need of the blockchain, that the cyber systems connected already to the financials, to the healthcare, to the other systems in our life itself, and maybe even the smart grid or the connected cars and everywhere over there. Okay. Now, in order to collect all of this information, okay, previously there is no internet connected altogether. When we have a medical record, there is no medical records being exchanged between hospitals or, let's say, multiple hospitals or research centers before. But now everything is now recorded to the internet. So definitely there is an interaction between them, and this information is connected all together and work publicly over the internet. So definitely we need to put it in a database that it cannot be changed very easy without any permission and without any attention from the system. So the application like healthcare, transportation, ICS or industrial systems, or the smart grid itself, there is a lot of applications. Okay, and a lot of ways of data is already connected, and there is a lot of social impact is happening in the life itself. So you can see that the physical infrastructures, the monitoring, the controlling, the electricity generations in the smart grids or the building, the environment, all of these, it's really need to have the immutable database and the consensus protocols in order to make sure that there is no change or manipulation in any facts itself. As an example of the healthcare, there is many of applications that's been mentioned here, like mid record management, block hire, healthcare analytics, IoT, and blockchain with the healthcare systems itself. Mid-share, many of other applications now it's being generated, built in the networks that can show the importance of having this type of technology to protect the existing systems and make sure that the critical data is not compromised anymore. We hear a lot in the previous years about many breach of data from hospitals, from insurance company, from let's say banking companies, credit card details going over the broad, and all of these type of breaches is already happening because of the central database and the access of the attackers to this type of database. So the application in the ICS systems itself, as an example, it will have, the blockchain application, I mean, it will have many key components here. Okay, and these key components mainly starting from the planet itself and the digital controls and the samples and the sensors that they have it to collect the parameters and send it to the controllers and do the creators and make sure that all the information is already collected accurately and there is no, let's say, manipulations, and save it within the blockchain database in order to make sure that these parameters is not changeable. It's used, let's say, as an example, the Ethereum DLT or other distributed ledgers like Hyperledger, Fabrics, or any other, that they are depending on a smart contract. As we mentioned, smart contract is a logical terminologies for the contract to make sure that unlegal change or manipulation is not happening in the data that being collected, and the data is being generated is accurate without any problems itself. So the smart contract, we have sometimes, yes. So mainly the smart contract is being written like any development language, okay? Starting from Solidity, C++, Java, Go, Tron, any platform can be run on them like Ethereum or Stealers or Hyperledgers or any of other platforms that it's already there. And these programming language has been made to make sure it's compatible with the Hyperledger. It's work with the protocol of the consequences or algorithm of consequences, with the cryptocurrency, with the applications, and with the platform itself, in order to make sure that the smart contract is written in a correct and flexible way, so the system can execute it immediately with no delay, because this is a real-time executions and need to make sure that the privacy of the data is being protected. Data is not being changed unless the conditional situation is happening, and make sure that all of the details it's correctly and there is no mistakes is happening at the same time itself. Okay. Now, once we spoke about application, smart contract, blockchain, but we need the mindset that can do the analysis of the operation itself. So here we came and integrate with the AI or the artificial intelligence itself to make sure that they are thinking like human, okay, and they are apply and do the analysis much faster of the human itself, like early diagnosis of some diseases, or maybe some weathers, or GPS, or any recommendations about movies, or recommendation about let's say or at least expectation of the weather. So these machines that they think like human, they are much faster of the human things, and they have the machine learning and the analytics behaviors that they are doing it in a way to connect all the dots together and give you a result of the behavior analysis and show you that if this happening, we need to take this action. If this done from weather perspectives, we need to execute this type of command. Or if we get these parameters, let's say we have to change the way of delivery of the, let's say, food or anything. So this type of behavior analysis is much faster than the human, and it's more accurate because it depends on algorithms, depends on informations, and do it in much way faster, because the time is critical here, because this is critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure meaning that is impacting the people life. Any small delay, definitely it will be impact definitely on the people life, and cost and operations and recovery and all of these things that we usually have discussed on it. Okay, so AI use mainly the smart contract in order to make the privacy preservation itself. So make sure that the analysis it is trusted. There is no discussion about it. The one who do the change have the proper permission based on the database. The problems that's happening is analyze it on a front, and predictions is there in order to make sure that these systems are running and functional correctly and 100%. So you can see if we integrate the blockchain and the AI with the physical, with the CBS systems itself, you can see there is many of functionality of the blockchain and the database part, and the platform itself with the programming language and the smart contract can help the AI, the robotics, the visions of the processing, the machine learning, the NLPs, or the automated learning itself will help a lot the projects of the CBS part itself. That definitely will enhance and will support the functionality to be run smoothly without any problems, without any gaps. But again, since this technology is being built by human, so definitely we will face problems, because smart contract is something source code. So the software that being written or the code is being written, definitely there is many gaps. It will be happen. Maybe mistakes, logical vulnerabilities, structural vulnerabilities, and many other ways. So this is why it's very important that we keep doing the testing, use the use cases, make sure that if we implemented in this way, there is a testing phase, there is a, before you put it in the production, test the logical part is very important, because the logical part is mainly, you need an AI to analyze it. So there is many tools is used as of today in order to test these ways as structures or logicals or gaps, to make sure that once it's executed and saved in the blockchain, it cannot be changed. And the data, the result based on these parameters, it will not be impacted and get, let's say, retrieve it, because it cannot be changed. And why we discover these problems and vulnerabilities, from logical part, because there is an old history is already happening in these terminologies, smart contract being written with vulnerabilities, like the DO attacks or the party attacks or the other type of attacks that have been happening in the last few years when the technology being introduced to the market. There is many gaps being there, a lot of money being lost, a lot of data has been compromised is over there, even if it is blockchain, but still it's working by human. So this is why we bring to the attention to anyone who want to implement the blockchain or the smart contract, we need to do analysis, let's say not only vulnerability analysis, we need to do the source code analysis, we need to do the testing, we need to do all of these until we find that this technology is mature enough. Again, it is emerging technology, still there is a gaps, and still there is a problems in implementing these. But again, these technologies still far away from the existing technology that we have it as of today in order to be implemented, and compare it to the existing security schema for the smart contract, and the level of structure it's built, how it is built in very proper way and very structural way. Okay, and jumping just sake of time, we will jump to the use case that we have it as a conclusion of how the AI enables smart contract in the retail market. This use case mainly, what's coming, yeah. There is an ice cream factory that's selling an ice cream to the local area with a delivery part. You don't need to go there. They can deliver it to you directly, and they have a specific prices, okay? But they want to make sure there is a conditional in your order. So if you are in a range of 5,000 meter, which is 5 kilo, so they can do the delivery for you. Otherwise, your order will be cancelled. Plus, they put like marketing terminologies. If the delivery more than 30 minutes, so your order will be free of charge. Okay, so they will make sure that they will deliver the item to you on time. So here, the needs of the AI system that can do the analysis with some use check of the conditional of the smart contract and once the customer is connected to the application, they will measure the distance based on the GPS directions and so on. So all of these cannot be done by a human. Otherwise, it will be a miscommunication or misdesign part of this. Plus, the factory, they want to consider how much time they need to produce the ice cream and packing it and put it within the 30-minute time frame and send it to the 5-kilo distance itself. So these, a lot of calculations, really it need a proper smart contract be written correctly and AI to do the analysis much faster in order to deliver these type of things. So hopefully I give you a proper, let's say, understanding. And it is not deep information, but at least understanding how these emerging technology can work with the CBS systems, which is part of our life. And I would like to really thank you for your attendance. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer it through the Q&A chat. I think presentation will be shared with everyone. And if there is a need, you want to connect with me, just Google my name. I'm very active on the LinkedIn and Twitter. Just Google my name. It is Ramy, R-A-M-Y, space AlDamati. And you will find my names in the LinkedIn, Twitter, or any other platforms. Just feel free to connect with me. I will be happy to answer your needs, help you on projects, or advise you, or in any other way of help that we can support you and support the community of the emerging technology in the market. Appreciate your time and efforts. Thank you so much.